All right, it is 7 o'clock, which means it's time for Toolbox Tuesday. This is our weekly webinar series where we help put tools in your toolbox to help you pound out problems and sharpen your saw. Today we're going to revisit our pathways, which was a very popular session. We did it about a month or so ago, and we had another opening. We wanted to revisit this. So we have online with us today, we've got a couple of pathways experts. First off, our district director, distinguished Toastmaster, Ben Smith.
Hi, everyone.
And then we also have, last time I introduced you as a distinguished Toastmaster.
I'm not.
But you're not. You corrected me last time. So we have an undistinguished Toastmaster. Mike Overland, who is a pathways, he is our resident pathways expert in the district. I kid you not. He's helped us out a lot with getting the pathway system up and running in our district. He's been a tremendous help to many clubs, and he's a great asset to have us. So Mike, welcome today.
Thank you.
All right.
Very glad to be here.
And we're glad to have you. So we, again, had some, now can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. So we had some questions when you registered for the webinar, and we took some of those questions and we put them up into a PowerPoint. Now, if you have additional questions, you'll notice on the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A button, and you can click on that. If you are a participant, you'll see the Q&A button. You can click on that, and you can type in additional questions. And when we get through, we didn't get a ton of questions, but we will start off with these. But if you've got questions, you can either put them in that line, or you can raise your hand using the participant window. So, and we'll get to you as we run through these. So, without any further ado, let's jump into the questions. Are you guys ready?
Absolutely.
Ready.
All right. So we'll see if I remember how to use my computer still. Pathways Q&A. Our first question actually came from Jackie. Jackie asks, how can we see a visual of our progress? How can we see a visual kind of, where you're at in the program?
I think there are a couple ways. The first is simply logging in to Basecamp. Into your transcript, there will be a number of visual indicators of your progress. So on the left side, the left navigation menu, it'll show you a percentage of your path completion. So you have to actually go into the path on the path curriculum transcript on Basecamp, and it'll show you a percentage completed. On any level, at the top of that page, when you're looking at level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it'll show you a percentage of the projects that you've completed for that level, between 0 and 100%. So that's another way to see it. As a vice president of education, you can get some graphs that show where members of your club are in terms of their progress. I have to say that my advice as someone who is currently a vice president of education for a club is that people like to see where they are, and I actually have a board that I bring in, and I think it was 50 cents at Cub, just wrote up everybody's names on it, and I give them a check mark when they complete a project. And so everybody can see everybody else's progress at each meeting. But there you'll see just what I was talking about at the beginning. On the left, the top left, the curriculum progress, 60%. The level progress at the top, 100%. And even the electives are broken down. They show you a little percentage bar as well. So those are some different things. Anybody else have anything else they are thinking of?
No, I think that covered it really well.
Yep.
As you mentioned, the going into Basecamp Manager, if you're a Basecamp Manager, can give you an overall view of different club members. And I really like that idea of just having a board or a poster board or whatever, and just making sure that everybody can see everyone, and kind of gives everybody a feeling of community to see where everyone's at.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You know, anytime you can build it into the culture of your club, I think you add to it. So
Agreed.
Sometimes when you're trying out new things and you feel like you're alone. So Mike is going to show this chart that he has. Oh, I see.
So this is, and you can do any variety of this, but members like it. Members ask, "Oh, am I going to get a check mark? We actually have gold stars." Yeah. And Dave is saying, "I couldn't keep up. I just want to see my information."
Okay.
Somebody's wrote in chat.
Yep, that's what Dave said. So, Dave, could you share your screen again and go back to from the Basecamp beginning?
Yeah, you're going to have to watch that. I've got the PowerPoint playing right over top of my Zoom window. So,
gotcha.
So go back to the beginning.
Yep. To log in.
All right. So you go to toastmasters.org and then Pathways and go to Basecamp. And then you pick your club. I'm a member of more than one club. So I pick my club and I say, go. And then down here, I can see my curriculum. So I'm in effective coaching. So I click view my curriculum. And when I go in, I just finished level 3. So level 3 is at 100%.
That wasn't a humble brag there, was it, Dave? That I just finished level 3. Just curious.
No, I just finished level 3, which is why it shows this at 100% and the total progress for this path at 60%. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So as you go through, if I look at level 1, it'll tell me the progress through level 1. So, and level 4 is much more humble. So level 4, I'm at 0%. But it always shows. So this is the visual that you have.
Correct.
Does that cover it?
Yeah, I think so. Dave, nice. Did that cover everything for you? You can respond in the chat box if you'd like. Yes, that helps. Perfect. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, perfect. All right. So
Ruth has a question in the Q&A box. Ruth Alaband asks, I printed project pages for the third speech, research or topic. The grid printed out, but the text is all box-like graphics, not readable English text. I'd like to print this out. How can I do that?
That is an issue with your PDF reader and computer, almost certainly, in terms of having the right drivers and fonts installed. You might try, I'm not sure what your operating system is or what application you're reading. Most people use Adobe. You might try reinstalling that. And then you might try reinstalling your printer drivers. In an emergency, don't hesitate to reach out to your fellow club members, I would say, and ask them if I need this printed out, can you please print it out for me? I would say, give that a try. I have not seen a similar issue with any of the documents, so I can't say for sure what's going on. There might be a particular font. If everything else works, but just that one doesn't, you might just want to download the file again.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. If you're not able to resolve it on the last time we did this, TI does have people on staff who can help you through some technical issues like this. So you could call Toastmasters International and ask to speak to someone with the educational services branch, and they'll help you walk through some of these issues. It's most likely a setting on the computer, and that one is hard to diagnose over a webinar. Any other questions on chat, you guys?
We actually do, yes. One is from Vijay Shri. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. What is the pathway quiz? The being displayed as pathways quiz. So the pathways, I'm a little confused what you're asking about there. If you're asking about the pathways assessment,
I think so.
that would be the very beginning thing that you do in pathways. So Dave, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and go back to the very first pathways page on Toastmasters.
So when you log on Toastmasters, again, pathways, and then choose a path. So that's and this will launch the assessment. Now, I've already used my free path, so if I choose another, they'll want to charge me, but I can still take the assessment. Just if I order the path, they'll ask me to pay for it. So you go into the path, you choose your language, and you can do this in any language you want. I'm going to use English just because if I do any other language, I'm going to get lost very fast.
As would I. And
then you go through the questions. So this is it. And when you get to the end, it's going to give you a recommendation for a path. I will say that that you don't have to necessarily take the one that they recommend. You can, if it doesn't feel right to you, you have the right to pick any path you want. It's just the way that you answer these questions it's going to make a recommendation for the path that they think is the one that will serve you best.
And it'll actually give you a recommendation of 3 paths?
Correct.
You would prefer not to choose any of those. You can choose from any of the 11 paths that are available.
Exactly. All right.
All right. We do have another question up on the Q&A.
Perfect.
So the next question is, how do we change what club gets credit for our pathways levels? So
all right.
I'll go ahead and take this one because this one is something I don't have to show you on screen. So the answer to that is it's decided which club gets your level in pathways according to which one you submitted to through Club Central. So if you go into Club Central, or if your VP of Education goes into Club Central and you talk to the VP of the club that you want to have to give that award to, they will go in, log in, and submit the award, whatever pathways level it is, submit it through the Club Central for that club, and that's how it's decided which club gets the award towards their Distinguished Club Program points. So there's actually 2 different steps there. There's the base camp manager goes through and into pathways and signs off that you completed the level. And then once that level has been completed, whichever club you're giving that award to goes in on Club Central and submits that level to TI through Club Central. So it's a 2-step process.
Now I can't demonstrate that because I'm not a club officer right now. So, all right.
Can I add to that, since I don't see any other open ones? Can I add that you're usually going to come across one of 3 different situations. You'll submit your level request, and either your Vice President of Education will understand how the whole thing works, and they'll check with you on submitting via Club Central. That's one possibility. The second is the Vice President of Education will assume if you submitted your level request for base camp with them that the club is going to get credit, and they will go ahead and just submit it through Club Central as well. that may not be what you want, so make sure to check.
Yeah.
And the third is that the Vice President of Education does not realize that there are 2 steps in the process. So that also is not going to be what you want. So again, check. I would recommend whenever you submit a level request, if you're in the know, make sure to mention to your VPE, I'd like you I submitted this level request, please complete that. And also I would like you to submit through Club Central so that this club gets credit, or I would like to submit it with a different club, please do not do so.
Right.
Personal recommendation.
Communication is key.
Good point.
Yep. All right. I'm going to take another question off the PowerPoint and we'll come back. Oh, look at this. I didn't think I had this right at the beginning. I might have this question in here twice.
All right.
How do the successful club leadership, so this is George is asking the question, how do the successful club and the leadership excellence speeches fit into pathways? So George, this is an excellent question.
It is.
I actually had to call TI and ask them because when I saw this, I thought, I don't think they do right now. And what they told me is at the present time and for the foreseeable future, these 2 sets of speeches are not included in pathways. However, because they hold valuable information, they are still available. Even when the legacy system drops off, these will still be available. They will not be directly credited in pathways. However, I would say that if you deliver one of these speeches, deliver it as a pathways speech.
Agreed.
Because these are exceptionally good speeches to help build your club up. So, and they help out. So I would still recommend these speeches. I'd recommend these speeches to help build up the quality, the quality level of your club and to help support the leadership growth in your club. And then take credit as a pathway speech. They don't have a standalone speech value. So it's not the same as it was. Anything
I agree with that completely.
like that?
Yeah, I would just like to agree with you on that. We have the ability with our Toastmasters journey to take the objectives and create the topics that we want to talk about. And so go through in these successful club series and leadership excellence speeches, those types of things, and find the topics that you want to talk about and then make it fit the pathways project that you're working on. That can be done very easily. Just use your creativity. It might stretch you a little bit, but that's all right. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Mike, you had an example of this at your club recently.
This Saturday morning, one of our members will be presenting the Controlling Your Fear presentation from the Better Speaker series,
which
is the third of these series here. And he is using the, what did I say? He was using visual aids speech. I think it's a level 3 elective project that he will be getting credit for.
Yeah. If you're new in pathways, this wasn't a question. At least it wasn't a question yet. If you're new in pathways and you're in level 1 and level 2, it kind of feels a little bit like the Competent Communicator Manual. When you get to level 3 in pathways, it starts to feel like the advanced manuals because you get the electives and you start to get where you can really chart your course. And there's a lot of opportunity when you get out to the electives. You can fit a lot of different types of speeches into the program.
Awesome. Dave, I have a question here on the chat box.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and address it here quick while we're talking about ancillary topics. How does the youth leadership program fit into the individual advancement points? And similarly, what about mentoring or sponsoring a new club? So I'm going to go ahead and tackle these in 2 different ways. I'm going to go ahead and start with, yes, go ahead.
I do have a slide later on that's going to address it, but.
Perfect. Go ahead then. So
but
Bruce will answer that in farther in the presentation.
Ben, if I could have you just remember that one, and if we don't cover it.
Yep, will do.
All right, here's one from Nancy. Nancy asks, how do I find where I left off in the video, and what is the next assignment?
When you're on a project in Pathways, wherever you left off, it should return you to that page. Now, if you're in the middle of a video, I'm not sure that it'll take you to, for example, the 4-minute mark in a video you were watching. I think it'll restart the video. But that being said, I'm not sure that any of the videos in the educational materials are very long. I don't think I've seen one more than 10 minutes. But it should take you to the page you were at. As for choosing your next project, anything that is available to you is an option. In other words, when you start in level 1, the only thing you're going to have that's going to be available to you is the icebreaker. That's going to be everybody's first project. Once you complete that, both the evaluation and feedback and researching and presenting projects will become available. I encourage you to read through both of them and decide which order you're going to do them in. For example, there are multiple parts of the evaluation and feedback project. You may decide you want to give the first speech from that project, then do your research and presenting project, then go back and do that second speech and the evaluation. You can do it in any order at that point. Likewise, once you complete level 1, level 2 opens up. You can do any of those projects that you have access to in any order. Once you complete level 3, you have access to your required project and I believe 14 elective projects now. You can do any of those in any order. Again, so if they're available to you, that's an option for your next project. You can also look ahead by looking at some of the summary sheets that I think you would be able to find on the district website. There's a District 4 page that is linked often, which is very good for looking ahead, as well as Toastmasters has a number of brochures.
District 106 does have a link to the District 4 summary pages on the Pathways post.
It looks like Dave is going through on exactly how to find Pathways information here, including that information on which projects to do. But my short answer is if you're logged into Basecamp, any project you have access to, you can choose to do that next.
All right, I think this is the one that had, one of these had a good summary of all of.
I think it's
I think
4.
that's, yeah, the District 4.
Okay, so let me go back to this one.
The one on the bottom.
Prior rollouts, if we go to District, oh, here it is.
Yep.
District 4, paths and projects. So if you want to get a look ahead, nope, that's not going to do it.
That isn't. It looks like we have a broken link.
Well, we're going to have to fix that.
Well, did we do that or did they do that?
I would say they did it.
I'm looking at District 4 has an issue with their website right now. Check back.
So what you can do is you can read through the code and you can imagine how it would go.
Right.
Well, that's too bad. That was a great resource, though. And
yeah.
Probably email them and let them know.
Well, let me see if it's us first, but yeah, agreed.
No, I got the same thing.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see what.
Well, let's move on to the next question here. So I think this is Powell, is how I'm going to guess. If I said your name wrong, I apologize. Powell is asking, is Pathways basically combining the CC and the CL manuals?
Go ahead.
Well, let me just start. It's not combining them; it is replacing them. The CC manuals and the CL manuals were part of our legacy education program. Any new members are not using those manuals. If you want to talk about how they compare, they line up pretty well to the CC manual in that you've got projects, you've got to do speeches. In Pathways, you've got projects, you've got to do speeches. I would point out, because I've had some comments on the CL manual, how that appears to be missing out of Pathways. And I don't think it is. And I think it's a little bit sometimes how we think of the CL manual. And I've been guilty of this myself. When I first went through the CL manual, I realized that I could flip to the last page and it had that whole list of projects that you had to do. So I said, well, my goal in this manual is to be an evaluator and to be a Toastmaster here. And then I finish level 1, and then I'm going to be this and this and this, and then I finish level 2. But if you actually read the CL manual, and I don't have one handy here, I wish I had it right in front of me, but if you actually read the CL manual, the first project in the CL manual is listening. And when you go in and you read it, the first thing it has you do is it has you do a self-assessment. And if you don't believe me, read your CL manual. It says do a self-assessment, and then it gives you a lesson on listening skills and why it's important and some ways to build your listening skills. And to practice those skills, it has you fill a couple of roles, one of them being a speech evaluator, one of them being a table topics presenter, or there's a few different roles. And then after you've done that project, it has you do a final evaluation. What did you learn? Where are you now? And when you think of it that way, doesn't that sound like a typical Pathways project? The goal is to become a better listener. The goal is not to become a speech evaluator or to become a Toastmaster or to become a general evaluator. The goal is always to develop a leadership skill. And that's how Pathways runs. And every Pathways project that you run starts off with a self-assessment. It gives you a lesson, and then it has you do an exercise, and then you reassess. And I think Pathways has found a way to bring the Toastmasters program back to the core essence of what it's supposed to be. And I think, and I've been guilty of this too. I've, in the CCL manual, it's like, oh, hey, I was a Toastmaster today. Can I get credit for being a better time manager, even though the meeting was a half hour long or whatever? It was, we've focused on the action and not the skill we're trying to build. And Pathways kind of takes that away and it brings it back to the true form where we're trying to build a skill. We're working on a skill set, and we do an exercise to build that skill. And let you guys talk, because that's entirely my opinion. So,
well, I would agree with that. I would say that Pathways takes the focus off from completing a role, but working on the competencies that we are really truly trying to develop in ourselves, instead of and then being able to take those competencies and take them into real life. So I can be an evaluator, but that doesn't really mean I'm going to be able to figure out how to bring that into my real life situation. Whereas if I'm listening, I'm going to bring that listening aspect of that competency that I'm building into every area that I'm in. Instead of just going to Toastmasters, good, I was a timer, I can keep time, but I'm late to every other thing that I'm at, that I go to. You're not building the competency, you're filling a role. And I think Pathways is trying to take the focus out from filling a role and building that competency that you can bring into your real life.
Yeah. Takes the focus off of just checking the box and puts it on to developing skills.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I would concur with that for the most part. For example, when you're doing that evaluation feedback project in level 1, I think that there's much more focus on what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and getting feedback on that than people often give to the CL manuals, as Dave was talking about. A lot of the later projects as well in the CL manual, I think do kind of get integrated into the later level leadership projects in different paths. And so I'm not sure what the stats were on the engagement with the CL manual in the past, how many people actually completed those and used those. And I know that many people use them kind of as Dave was talking about, as a check the box. I was an evaluator today, check it off. And so I do think they're getting closer to, you know, when you do something, you want to really focus on it so you get the most out of it. There are a few other projects. I know there's a project that asks you to serve as a table topics master. That's the active listening project.
Yep.
I also know that to move on from level 3 to complete level 3, you are required to complete a few different roles in a club meeting, and that is basically just checking them off. You want to make sure you've done it at least once. That's something that's kind of hidden in there. So if you're a vice president of education, you might want to check on that, make sure okay, is this person serving as a Toastmaster, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Usually that'll be fine. Usually it won't be an issue by the time somebody gets to level 3. So I would say some of it got moved over, but I think there is a big effort to get away from some of the box checking, as they mentioned.
Agreed.
All right. Mike, you've got to answer this one. What are some easy steps for people new to Toastmasters?
The first thing I'll say is that if somebody's new to Toastmasters, I want their club to make it easy for them. And I want them to do that by welcoming them in with a clear path of what they're supposed to be doing. And so my advice for that is to have an orientation program right away. As soon as somebody joins, preferably in a week or less, the vice president of education, vice president of membership, whoever your club wants to be responsible for that, meets with that person, goes over how does a club run? How do you get started in pathways? Make sure they have the resources that are available to them. For example, on the district webpage, which Dave has brought up already, and I'm sure he can bring up again, on how to get started. So hopefully you have that. And then hopefully you have a mentor that kind of knows what's going on and can help you with questions. Nobody's going to figure it out right away the first time. Everything's going to be obvious. But you see right now, Dave's on the District 106 homepage, and there's a link that says, how do I get started in pathways? So even if your club doesn't offer you all that, as a new member, if you go to this page, it'll show you some very short and concise videos on how to get started. Right? The first thing you need to be able to do is log into Toastmasters.org. If you're a new member, you may not have joined the site yet. That video will show you how to do that. The second thing you need to do is take the assessment. The 6-second video in a couple minutes will show you what that's all about. The next thing you need to do is choose your path. This video will take you in about a couple minutes, will take you through that. After you've chosen your path, you actually need to get into it, get to your first project, get to your icebreaker. Well, in a few minutes, you can watch this video and it'll show you how to do that. And then, the
number's wrong on this one.
Number's wrong, but that's a 5. So then the next thing is that you want to be able to work through the project. You want to know how to navigate it, how to print off the information if you'd prefer to look at it on paper rather than on your computer. And then the final thing is, how do you complete a project? Because every project in Pathways has a pre-assessment and a post-assessment. When you complete the post-assessment, that's how the computer knows that you've actually finished it. So if I'm a new member and I have nobody helping me from my club, which I hope you do, but if I don't, that's the stuff that I recommend to new members. Take a look at that. And that should guide you through your first project. The rest of the projects are exactly the same. Just do that over again for the next one.
Right.
So I think that will get you started.
And again, this is on the District 106 website. And when you get here, if you just see this banner, you want to scroll past the spring conference, which everyone should go to.
Agreed.
All the way to the bottom, and you'll see Toastmasters Pathways. If you're interested in an orientation program for your club, I would click this More Posts from Toolbox Tuesday, and we've got to find it. It's back here. It's a couple of pages back now. There's a lot of information here. New membership orientation. And this was a Toolbox Tuesday we did back in December. So.
Yeah. And from the new member's perspective, if your club is not giving you this information, it can be very hard. And so I encourage you, I wouldn't expect a new member to find the district website even.
Correct.
And so if you have members in your club that aren't sure what to do, please at least direct them to that information because as a new member to Toastmasters, somebody comes in, they have no idea what's going on. I want to improve my public speaking. I joined this club. They have no idea what's online, what's expected of them. So you really do have to help them out. But I think for me, that's the easiest. Those videos, it's less than 20 minutes total for those 6 videos, and that'll take you through the whole thing.
So we do have one comment in the question and answer section that I wanted to address. Eric says he did not know what Pathways was until 1 month into Toastmasters. He is new. Eric, I would like to apologize on behalf of the district and your club for not helping you get into Pathways. I think we've answered some questions for you this evening about some things that you can do to get started. If you do have any further questions, if you're still on the webinar and you have questions, go ahead and put them in the question and answer section. But if you have other questions after that, you can go onto the D106tm.org website and go to the directory and send me an email, and me or Dave an email, and then we'd be happy to help you out with any questions that you have that your club is not able to help you with at this time. So please.
About us, directory.
Yep. And if you're looking, Dave's going to it right there. Either one of us would be happy to answer any questions that you have and help you get on board with Pathways. Again, our apologies that no one had explained to you sooner.
All right. So, how does serving as an area, division director, or other district officer fit into Pathways? And Ben, I'm going to circle back to your question that you had from Ruth, I think.
Yep,
asked the question about serving as a mentor or a sponsor or a club coach.
Correct.
And
so I'm going to go ahead and start with and kind of mesh the two questions together.
All right. So what I pulled.
Go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead and explain that there.
So this one, I had this handy. So this is the only answer that we put on the Q&A, and it kind of goes over. And I'd be happy to share this with anyone. You can search it on the TI website. I just took a clip of what I found, and I was comparing the legacy education program to the new Pathways. And what you'll find here is in order to get your DTM, to earn the DTM in Pathways, you have to complete 2 learning paths. So each path has 5 levels. You have to complete 2 of those. You have to serve as a club officer for 12 months. So that requirement has changed. You also have to participate in sponsored club officer training. And you have to... well, there you go. You should still do a club success plan. That used to be written in there.
It used to be.
You have to serve a complete 1-year term as a district officer. So that's where area director or district director or division director or district officer would fit in. You have to serve as a club mentor or a coach. Now, if you serve as a club coach, and this is for this upcoming year, this expires in June of 2020. So if you serve as a club coach and you successfully bring the club back to distinguished status, for the next year and a few months, TI will give you credit as if you served as a district officer. Okay.
And the club coach.
And the club coach, yes. So it's a little bit of a variant. That was a recent thing that came out. Then if you serve successfully, so you need to serve successfully as a club sponsor or conduct a speechcraft or youth leadership program. Now, in the old program, you could serve as a club mentor, coach, or sponsor. Now you've got to do one plus, you've got another project here. So this is where this ties in, and it's focusing on different skills. And then you have to complete the DTM project. And this is the last thing you do is you do a DTM project. And I don't have a lot of information on what the DTM project is.
Nor do I.
It's basically a larger high-performance leadership project.
Okay. That's kind of what I would have guessed. I haven't made it there yet. I'm only on level 3.
Yeah, there's an HPL project, a high-performance leadership project, as a level 5 project, which my understanding is it's a little bit pared down from the traditional HPL.
Okay.
And the DTM project is a little bit built up
Correct.
from the HPL project.
There's a 360-degree evaluation in there. There's some other things in the DTM project that really build up that project.
Well, that is fantastic.
The Ruth, that does also answer your question regarding where youth leadership fits in as well. It is something that you must conduct for number 5 of the requirement on the Pathways Learning Experience.
Dave, do you want to bring up the Pathways chart to DTM? The little graphic that shows this?
The Pathways.
If you search Pathways chart to DTM and do the image search. It's that, yeah, the first result there.
I think I clicked it. It's loading. Well,
just right there. Yeah. So that's just the graphical version.
Visual version.
Yeah.
So everything that they were just talking about, that's all part of the DTM portion. It's not part of the paths themselves.
Correct.
So
one thing I'd like to point out as well is these can be done all at the same time, meaning you can be a club officer and be doing path levels in your path, and then you can be a club mentor and a district officer at the same time. It doesn't have to be, I did this, now I have to do this, now I have to do this, now I have to do this. It can be, don't overload yourself, but you can do some of these things at the same time.
Yep. Well, there you go.
There you go.
All right. That was the last question that we had. I feel like I missed a question. Someone asked how many levels were in a path, and there are 5. So 5 levels in every path, and there are 11 paths to choose from currently. When we launched back in May, there were 10, and they added humorous speaking. So with that, I'm going to try and find my Zoom controls, and they are gone, which is not fun. So you're going to have to read if we've got additional questions on there.
We do not. Q&A is empty. The chat box just had some thank you. That was great information. Thanks. That's been a little murky, and I agreed it had been a little murky regarding youth leadership and everything. So that's good that we got that graphic that you had on there. So that gives us something that we can look at and understand a little bit better. So Speechcraft and youth leadership are built in now as they hadn't been before.
Okay.
Dave and George said this has been very helpful. Thank you. And says good job. So I think we're good.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I want to say thank you to our 2 panelists. Ben, it was nice of you to join us from your airplane.
Yeah, exactly.
While you were flying around the district trying to put out fires and make it a better place to learn. Mike, always an honor to serve alongside with you, and we value your insight and wisdom. And to all the officers that dialed in or offered questions, I want to thank you for making a commitment to growing your leadership. We're all believers that when leaders get better, everybody wins. And this has been great. This has been Toolbox Tuesday. We'll see you next week.